Welcome to Behind the Build. I am your host, Jonathan Jacobs, and I have alongside me today Lucas Maino Fernandez. Also, potentially in the future, Lucas Maino Fernandez Arquitecto or Architect. We're not there yet, but we might be soon. Lucas, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate the time you're taking, and I will get to where you are in a moment.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here. And I'm not sure if the name of my studio yet, but I'm finding the way of if I'm a studio or I'm a person. That's the thing.
Maybe you're a person in a studio.
Probably that.
So in terms of where Lucas is located, his practice runs out of Santiago, Chile. He is designing his architecture in some of the most southern parts of the inhabitable world. And part of the excitement in today's incredibly, again, exciting, I can't think of another adjective to describe it, exciting podcast is to be able to talk to you about what it's like building in the middle of nowhere.
Probably you interview any Chilean architect, the funny thing is that we can tell you that we are at the end of the world, where the world ends.
Yeah. So when Lucas and I had our first introduction, I had in my research I was looking for practices globally, and so I was doing my research. And I started looking towards Mexico, and then I started moving south, and I came into Chilean architecture, and I landed upon Lucas. And when I saw his work on Instagram, I was like blown away. I was like, how is this happen? How is he building in these remote regions? How are they getting material there? Like the cost, the opportunity. Who wants to live in these areas? Like you're off the grid. So I messaged him through Instagram. And we exchanged messages back and forth. We had an introductory call, and we established that we would do this, that we would take the leap and have the conversation. And that first introductory call, you said what you just said now, and that is that yes, we are at the end of the world.
Actually, I have the physical office in the studio is in Santiago, but all my work is, how you said, in the south of Chile. So Santiago is like in the middle, probably, or a little bit northern. But all my work is related to the south, so it's very funny. People think that I live more in the south of the south of Chile. So, but I don't. I live in Santiago. That is more like we have a strong summer, strong winter, and very strong seasons. But in the south is like 8 months of rain, and probably similar to Canada or where you are.
and I was saying so the weather there today. I'm looking and Lucas has got a nice sweater on right now because as though it's 13 degrees and potentially raining, he's saying, "What was your word to me? It was much colder."
Sometimes it says like 13 degrees or some degrees, but it's not. It's like I feel like there's like 5 outside.
So Lucas, tell me something. So you started your practice when we initially met. You had told me that you started your practice around 10 years ago. Is that right?
Yeah. I finished university, or at the last year of university, I started my own practice. So I started like making or trying to make architecture. I have the opportunity to build the first house of a family member. That was like the first thing, and then appears another one, also family. There were 2 projects that were related to the family. Some people say that is the worst thing to work with family, but I made it. So I can say that I survived. I'm still alive. I still like my profession. So yeah, and those were 2 kind of projects, very different projects. One was one of the famous one, probably the house that is in Chiloé. That is Casa para Invitados. It's more like a sculpture, like it's more architectonic probably, and the other one is more more for a client, and it's more from the client, and the other one is from the architect.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there's always like that thing in between, that how
Oh,
much of the client and or how much of the architect, and you can make the difference on just from seeing the houses, which one respond more from the architect and which one responds more from the client.
right.
So
Yeah.
those two projects were like two different kind of approach.
It's interesting. So I described we when I was talking with Barbara Vokich Taylor a couple episodes prior to this, we were talking about that and how the client that wants to steer the project because they think they know the solution to their problem are sometimes not the greatest clients. And when I say sometimes, you can actually substitute that with pretty much all the time. They're not the greatest clients.
Yeah.
And the one that says, "This is my problem and I don't know how to solve it," that is the best client.
Yeah, and the one that trusts you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, is more about trust. People that doesn't trust, and when you're searching or looking for architect or architecture, is like you have to trust the other one, the
Yeah.
professional. So the most difficult thing is to find someone that trusts you.
Yeah. So tell me, when prior to starting your practice, you saying that you were in school, and I always want to try to ask this to everyone, and that is like when at what point in your life did you realize that this was going to be a path you wanted to take, architecture? When did you understand that?
When I
Yeah.
in school, probably when I wasn't good at writing or readings, or the other things, probably. No, no. At first, I wanted to study like archaeology at
Okay.
one point, but too much investigation, and I was not that dedicated to that strict way of living.
Yes.
So I was more a little bit artist, but the other thing is that I wasn't that good at math.
Okay.
So I was always like a little bit struggling, but I was very good at visualizing space and having notion about space. So probably it was like, okay, let's do it. My father is a constructor and my mother is an artist. So if you mix both,
Yeah.
it has to come an architect from. We are five brothers and sisters. So, and I'm the
There
first.
you are seven people in the family?
Yeah, I'm the oldest.
Woo!
And I'm the oldest, I'm the architect, and my brother that come next after me is a lawyer.
Okay.
Nothing to do with
No,
with
but
architecture.
but both strong professions,
Yeah.
right?
So I always say like, okay, I take the first of the two of my parents and mix it, and there's the architect.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah, well, look, that's the Maino Fernandez, right?
Yeah. There is the Maino Fernandez. Maino is the constructor and Fernandez is the artist.
Right, there you go. So you knew at that point. So that's in like high school. You kind of were leading down the path of like this. Some of these subjects aren't
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. We have different system, but at
Yeah.
the last 4 years is high school.
Yep.
I'm not sure if there is the same, but at the first year I knew that it was going to be architecture.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's the same. We have like a junior high or middle school, and
okay.
then you finish with high school, and then you go from high school into college or university.
Yeah. No, and the thing is that I always like from there I always knew that it's gonna be architecture, but I was really bad at grades. Really. Nobody have that faith on me on okay, Lucas is gonna study architecture, let's leave it and it's gonna be and that's it. And okay. But I like it that much that it's my passion. So once in university I love it. Even
Right.
if I don't know every subject, and I wasn't like the guy that received always the highest score.
Yeah.
I don't know how is the term
The honor
for that.
roll.
Yeah, but I was good in the main subject that is taller,
Right.
that is the workshop. So yeah, I love it, and that passion or the way I like it that much, it make me probably be right now here.
Yeah. So when you finished university, you were able to go ahead and open your own practice. You don't have to have any accreditation by working with someone else.
No, here is like, okay, you're ready, do whatever you want. If you want, you
Go.
have to work in an office, go and work in an office. If you want to have your license, go and get it and pay for it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, $50, the license.
$50.
Yeah, per
All of
semester, per
all
semester.
all of the architects right now in North America and Europe and Asia, they're all like, "What are you talking about?" We've got to put in all of our hours. We've got to do all of these services, and we've got to earn our
No,
stripes.
no, here it's like, okay, you're ready. You have all your university papers, and you have to go to the how say the I don't know the name, the municipalidad, and pay for the license.
Yeah.
And the license is it's a good thing and a bad thing because anyone anybody could sign your plans,
Right.
and
That's the risk.
that's the risk,
Yeah.
and it's a big thing.
I would imagine so. I mean, you're talking about the structure of a home. So yeah,
Yeah,
here that's why in here there's so much regulation around when you're certified to be a licensed architect and the amount of hours you have to put in and to be able to attain it. There's a rigorous years of schooling. A lot of people do master's programs and all the rest of it, but it's
yeah.
interesting that where you are, that's not the case.
No,
It's
it's very.
loose.
I told you, it's good and bad.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I think for myself is I'm not. Why can I sign this? Why can I do this kind of stuff?
Why? Yeah. Why have they given me this power?
Yeah, it's too much power, and sometimes it's too much. It's like don't give me that kind of power. Find someone else to validate your structure. I don't know.
So in some of the discussions we had initially, we had talked about what it's like to both design in this region, but then also to help understand what's happening in the region. And I want to get to that a little bit later because I think that in itself is really interesting. But what is it like for you when you acquire a project and this project is located in the southern hemisphere? How far away are some of these projects from Patagonia?
No, the thing is, yeah, that's the thing because Santiago is I told you that it's like in the middle, but in the middle of the continent.
Yep.
Because there's Santiago, there is Puerto Montt,
Yep.
more in the south, at least like 800 or 900 kilometers down.
Yep.
And all my projects, the most of projects are located around Puerto Montt or that place.
Yep.
But it's that distance, was 1,000 kilometers down.
South from Santiago. Yeah.
From Santiago, yeah.
Right.
And there is another 2,000 kilometers from Puerto Montt up to Punta Arenas. So you have the middle of the rest of the country from down Puerto Montt, and that's Patagonia.
Right.
Like the Patagonia that we know from the Torres del Paine,
Yeah.
and all that, linked to Argentina also. But I'm like in the where Patagonia starts, because we go Patagonia from there to the south.
Right.
So yeah, I'm far, but there's a far than place.
So these projects, like you acquire a project. When you're acquiring this project, does it require you to have to go to site at the beginning, or are you engaged with a client without ever going to site?
Both.
Okay.
I have received both situations because some of the places, it depends of the place also, because if the place is too complicated and it doesn't have that much information, or you can't receive that kind of that much input from images and videos and Google Earth or drone image,
Yeah.
you need to go to see the ground. But some places are like flat with grass, and you can understand the minimum things from just that information. So in that case, it's not necessary for me. It's not necessary just to go for at the beginning or preview starting something.
Right.
I could go in the middle, or let's draw something and then we go to the place and place it and see
Right.
how it works, and then we make some modifications from the thing. Also, I have been there a lot of times, so the main conditions, I know them.
Right.
So I have the minimum, for example.
Right.
But there are places that I have to go at the beginning.
And
what clients, the most of the clients are hurry. They say, okay, let's start now. What do I want to build in the next 2 months? What can we do? So it depends also in how is the hurry of the client.
Of the client. So what does it look like? Let's say you're acquiring one of these projects. In order for you to be able to gain or to, I would say, improve your knowledge of the area. So you've got to fly, right?
Yeah, I take a flight from Santiago to Puerto Montt. That is 2 hours flight.
Yeah.
Uh, and then there I rent a car and I travel around the south, like moving in car and visiting places and raining sometimes. Sometimes it's sunny and yeah, but it's pretty much that.
And
And
so,
sometimes I visit the place and it's like, okay, I knew this. Let's go home.
I didn't need to fly down here and
No,
rent the
I
car
didn't
and
need it to
drive.
go. Yeah,
This was a big waste of my time.
sometimes happens. That is like, oh, fuck,
So
that's not necessary.
do you ever run into situations where when you arrive to your site, it is not the conditions that you thought, and you
Yeah,
have to bring in consultants as well? So you've got to set up a secondary meeting, or do you generally bring people with you if you know you're
no,
going to need them?
no. It's about my judge if I need them or not.
The
And
the
so,
audio just changed. It was weird.
oh, 1 second. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. It sounds a little more echoey.
1 sec. Let's see there.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I was telling that the most of the time is my visit, and there I visit the site and decide if it is necessarily to bring someone else to give me more input about the ground or kind of things that I'm not sure. But there's also has to be an engineer, a person that evaluates the ground, the composition of the ground,
Yeah, like a
but not at the
geotechnical.
first. Yeah, but not at the first moment. Sometimes it goes in the middle and where the project is more draw, have a more idea of the project, and then
Yeah.
these guys evaluate the project with the site to
Okay.
say, okay, we can do this or we can't, and you have to do this or modify these kind of things.
And what does it look like in terms of your ability to acquire these consultants? Are they local, or do they have to also fly in? Like, what does this look like from an overall setup standpoint?
Some of them are locals,
Okay.
from Puerto Montt. Others are from Santiago. It depends of the money that wants to spend the client.
Yeah.
If they want to bring someone from Santiago to the south. But the most of the time there's local. I try to make a team in the local area to work with local people
Right.
in case I need them to go more than once and not just one flight from Santiago, stay 2 hours and go back.
Right. And the builders that you work with, are they also local?
They're
I,
monsters.
I assume they would have to be, right? Like, you're not a company is not going to be based out of Santiago and go down and work on this project and stay somewhere for the course of 8 months or a year or plus, right? Like, it's all local.
Yeah. In my case, in the projects that I've been at for now,
Yeah.
they're locals.
Okay.
They're local, yeah. But I know some clients or some architects that bring people from Santiago and build houses and stay them for months, for 1 year in the place.
Right.
But I have never done or have that opportunity.
Right.
My constructor are more like monsters that can build. No, they're
How
no. It's local people that know how to work the wood and to make some things, but they're not professionals, like strictly professional. They're like people that know how to build because of their family all are workers and know how to build, or the grandfather also builds, or it's like more a trespassing
Right.
generation thing.
Right. And how are you able to stay connected to these projects when you're that far away from them? What does it look like for you to stay connected to the trades and to the builder?
It's the same as we are doing now. Video conference. No, a lot of WhatsApp, images, communication by video call. I'm very like I'd like to know a lot of what is going on in the process of the construction because of they are local people. They're not professional. They need a lot of guidance, and that work or that part of the construction, it's my responsibility, or I assume it more than the constructor. I don't give the plans or the blueprints or how, I don't know how you call it.
Plans. Yeah.
And like, okay, do it, and that's it. And that's I see you in the end of the construction. No, I'm like I know from I follow my construction like every day, 24/7 almost.
Unless you're
So that,
recording a podcast.
yeah, exactly. No, but some of my architect friends, they don't understand it because it depends. Also, you have to be an ability to give some of the magnetic things of architects. We put it in some words
Yep.
to let it be, and to okay, if you you don't know how to do it, let's have a conversation and try to fix it.
Right.
And it's a conversation that between the constructor, the builder, and me, and then there is a solution in the middle. It's
Right.
not just a thing that I draw and you have to do it like this, and there's no way you can change it. I have probably not none one of my projects it's been done like that. Some of them are just drawing by hand. For example, Casa Patio is just there were some few plans, and most of the process of the construction was because of drawing by hand. Some ask me, "Hey, you have the detailed plan of the stair of that project?" And I say, "Sorry, but I don't."
I drew it on
So,
site on a piece of plywood.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And that sometimes is difficult to understand because it's a mental condition to be in that situation.
Yeah.
And only some architects like to work that way. Not everyone.
And are there challenges that you have to deal with when you're designing in these regions with any regulatory bodies? So like a conservation authority, like for parks or for forestry, that tell you that you cannot take down these trees in this forest? Are you dealing with this?
Yeah, we deal with it. The thing is that it's an interesting question because we're like a country that has a very low capacity to follow the construction, and to the state doesn't know if at the millimeter if you are okay with the construction or if you are following the regulations. So
Right.
it's like how much money has the state to follow that kind of stuff, and it's a poor country in that way. I mean, Santiago has a lot of money and some how you say municipalidad, ayuntamiento, municipalidad.
Yeah.
I forgot the word.
No, look it up. That's okay. Well,
I will look it up because it's an important word.
yeah. And I asked this because I know, like, here when we're dealing with building on, let's say, a ravine.
Hey, it says the tradition is municipality.
A municipality. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The municipality of some of the places in Chile doesn't have that money to follow the constructions.
Right.
So the most of the time, it depends of how much is the interest of the client and the architect and the constructor to follow the regulations.
Right.
So it's very sad because in some cases there's no regulation and there's no way how to follow the regulation.
And so people are doing more than they should or not following the guidelines.
And you have the paper, but the paper is like, okay, here is the paper, and that's it. But the most of the country, the construction is very informal, and it's also what we were talking before, that it's a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that it's the opportunity to young architects to make things with low money.
Right.
And because, but the bad thing is that it's less technical. There are more less regulations. So probably some houses they're not built in the right way. Probably my houses some doesn't fit in the regulation at the end of the work because we couldn't pay it. That's the real thing.
Yeah.
So it's like an interesting thing, but it's depends of the money of the municipality because of the some places municipality go and is very strict in the things of regulation, but other one you don't know them up to the end.
Right. So do you get anyone from the building department from the municipality that comes to inspect, or it does not happen?
In some cases, yeah, there is a person that goes and fiscaliza. I told you there's a problem with the
That's
words
okay.
in
The beauty
this.
of what we do is that we have to have patience to be able to resolve problems, right?
It's
Sometimes the problem is a language barrier. That's
no
okay.
the yeah, and the word is supervised. It was very
Supervised.
obvious. No, sometimes I receive some supervisors, and but also the supervisor is like very poor in the knowledge of the regulations. So it's like, okay, that's okay, go on.
Yeah. Here's your stamp. You're approved. Keep going.
Yeah, go keep
Phase.
going. That's it. But in
So
Santiago, for example, it's more difficult. In
right.
there's a strict regulation, and they supervise you every week, for example, and depends of the municipality. But in
Right.
the south where I work, no, I barely can go to the places. Imagine the municipality; they say like, okay, let it go.
Yeah.
That's it.
So tell me something like as you're going and designing your architecture, I am assuming, and actually I won't assume, negate that. Leave that alone. Let's ask,
Okay.
I'm just going to ask the question. Do you have a struggle with being able to utilize different types of materials, or do you have limitations on material use in your architecture?
The first limitation I always is very sad because the answer is like it depends of the money.
Okay.
but but that's that's the boring answer probably.
That's actually, to be honest, that is the true answer. That
That's
is the
the
true
true
answer of
answer,
architecture
and
anywhere in the world.
because I have received this question before, and it's like there was a professor that interviewed was like young architects from the university, and they told us, hey, why you use like only wood and this kind of structure? And it was like, hey, because the money is like just I can afford wood, I can afford concrete.
Right.
So I haven't had the opportunity to work with concrete yet. I mean, some of my projects has a little things or some parts of concrete, but not entirely think from concrete.
Got it.
Now I work a lot with steel and wood,
Yeah.
making the mix, because of structural things and a condition of earthquakes, wind, etc. But I don't know. I think I work in this kind of materials because of the circumstances. Probably if I will live in other place of the I started in other place of the world, probably it would be another material.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you might not be using wood. You might only be using
Yeah,
concrete.
probably, probably.
But
Or stone, for example.
yeah, yeah,
Here we don't use stone. It's more decorative than structural thing or a main thing. It's very rare.
interesting.
So
And
yeah, the thing is the answer is like yeah, because of circumstances. Probably I know a little bit more of wood because I just work in wood because my clients have the money to make things in wood, and that's I don't know if it is sad or not, but, but
well, is all of the wood that you're working with local? Like, are they when they're cutting down trees for a site? It takes time for wood to be able to be planed and dry and to be
yeah, depends.
utilized in construction.
It depends of the wood also.
Okay.
We use pine, a lot of pine,
Yeah.
different kind of pine,
Yep.
and that it comes from plantations, big plantation of pines, and that's ready to go to
Okay.
work. But there's other woods that is the native wood, local trees and that I don't like to use it because it means I've been cutting native forest. So
Yes.
the most of my project I try to not use it, even if the client says to me like, "Hey, we could use this kind of tree of the." I try to make it other way. That's why I also link it to the question before to the material. I try to use the same material in different ways. That it's something you see probably in my project. That is all you see in my project probably is pine, but it's different treatment to that kind of wood. Some is raw, some have another treatment, some are, and that makes you different textures, and
Yes.
that's very good. I like it. I like to make it with oleo. Hey, I have to use pine, but I will use different kind of treatments in pine.
And what are the other types of trees that you might use that would not be a part of like the deforestation? Is there
Eucalyptus.
eucalyptus?
Yeah, but also eucalyptus is different in in a lot of countries. It's not the same eucalyptus of New Zealand or Australia or the one that is in Uruguay, Brazil.
Okay.
It's a different one. Because in Uruguay, I know that in Uruguay and Brazil they have the red grandis. That is one more red one, but I'm not the I don't know the specific type of eucalyptus that I use. But those two, they're the main one.
Got it.
And also in pine, there you have 2 or 3 different kind of pine. There is the Oregon, the Insigne, and I forgot the other name. But those one is used for more structural things, and the other one is more used for envolventes.
I'm looking it up. Eastern white pine, the jack pine, limber pine, ponderosa pine, longleaf pine, pitch pine, lodgepole pine, red
Let
pine.
let me see.
Oh my gosh. I never knew that there were this many types of pine. Jeffrey pine, Austrian pine, bristlecone pine. There's a lot of pine.
Radiata pine, for example.
Okay.
That's a typical one.
Got it. Okay.
But yeah, the pines, there are like many species. So
I had no idea that there were this many types of pine trees. I just got educated on pine trees.
Yeah, probably the pine that you use is different than the one I use.
Yeah. Okay. And so tell me, like, when you're, because there are a number of projects that you have that you've shared on your website, and that was part of the excitement that I had when I was looking at your work. Was I was like, oh, I mean, like, look at what he's creating here, and so I was.
It's just pine.
It's that's okay. Just
sorry.
pine. I mean, you say it like it's a bad thing. I don't think it is, because if you're able to work with a material and change the way that it looks on multiple types of projects, then you are doing something that really taps into creativity, right? And
also the it's about that. I think I'm very strict with my budget. So when you have a budget to work with, you have to use creativity with that. So it's like always trying to look new things or use creatively the pine or one material according to the budget, and not saying like, okay, I will use, now I have more, so I will use a very specific wood and that I can buy.
And what about when you're working with your windows? Are you working with windows from local suppliers, or are you bringing in windows from other places? And I just understand that there's again, that goes back to the budget.
but we have local suppliers, and yeah.
And that includes not just the actual frame, but and the material, but also the glass, everything local.
No, there's the glass, I mean, and there's the frame.
Yep.
I'm probably the frame comes from China, comes from Turkey, and comes from Germany.
Okay.
And there's the budget in those 3 countries. There's German, the best. Turkey, probably not the best, but not the lowest. And there's China.
Yes.
The lowest. But the most typical is Turkey. What we use here, the typical frames of the windows come from that country. We don't make them.
My understanding is Poland also has a pretty good product, but
yeah, probably.
but so what are you experiencing when it comes to a delivery of windows? If you're ordering your windows from Germany, how long is it taking for your windows to arrive?
No, but the how you say, the materia prima,
the glass, or the frame?
No, wait.
Sure.
The raw material comes from Germany, but in big containers. So they're stuck with the material, but they build it here.
Okay.
They assembly the window here with the dimensions you need and all that. But the material of the frame, it comes from different places.
Yeah, the aluminum, the fiberglass, whatever it is. But it's being shipped. Like, it's all manufactured based on your specs. It's manufactured in Germany. It comes in a container. It gets assembled in a local area. But the travel time from Germany to where you are, like...
No, but there is a big stock of the same material.
Oh, there is. Okay. That's what I was trying to allude to. So you have...
No. Each company of windows has a big stock of material. And
got it.
Also, Chile is a big importer of a lot of materials, so we have commercial things with China, US.
Yeah. The trade.
Probably we are the, I don't know. We trade with everyone, so we all open up to all the world. So we
Right.
receive a lot, and that's a good thing because we almost have stock of a lot of things that probably you don't find in some other countries. The
Okay.
same as Peru. Peru is also, because of the long we have with Peru, almost the whole South Pacific. So we have a lot of trade with them.
We actually had we had a lot of at one point a lot of people trying to spec Ipe, the wood, and you know we
What?
got to a point where we were trying to tell people with our company we don't want to install Ipe
Which one?
because Ipe it's it's IPE.
But that's still no.
Steel? No, it's a wood. Ipe wood.
Oh,
It's
I don't
it's
know it.
Brazilian walnut or lapacho.
Ipe Woods. I will
Yeah, yeah.
write it down.
So it's essentially coming out of Brazil, and
And I
they're
hear,
taking
yeah,
it on a large scale out of the rainforest.
yeah,
And
it's using deck for
yeah,
exterior.
yeah.
No,
And so and when you talk about sustainability, like this is the opposite of sustainability. You're sending these massive machinery into rainforests, milling it all down
yeah,
just so someone can have a nice deck. Like it's ridiculous.
I don't know
So
if it's worth it.
it's wild. So tell me, like when you're working on all of these projects, how many projects are you working on at a time? What's your average in construction, planning, post construction? What does that look like?
It's a chaos. There's probably in construction, I try to have like at least 3 construction at the same
Yeah.
time. 3 or 4, like in depends, but that's like most of the time.
Okay.
In designing, like in the previous designs, also the same. I have
Yeah.
3 or 4 projects,
Yeah.
and there's also the regulation part, and that takes like 3-4 years of regulation and paperwork, and so sometimes there are 8 projects in the same stage, and you have to answer the same project, but yeah, they're like, I don't know, like
So,
around 10, in between 10 and 15 things going at the same time.
and it's just you, right? Or do you have a
Me,
staff?
me with Macarena, that it's part of my stuff.
Okay. So two of you running
Yeah,
15 projects.
yeah. But remember that it sounds a lot, but it's less professional. Like in the I don't know how you say it. It's not the word. The traduction is not literally.
Yes.
I don't know how to say it.
Less formal,
Less
I think. In
formal. Yeah, I don't know if formal, but yeah, probably formal.
in some way, like because it's not everything is fully regulated the way that you've described before. So like some things might be you might not hear from someone for a couple days, right? Or
Yeah, and
it
probably
could
it's easier. It's easier for a new architect like me or a young architect to make things happen than another part of the world that you need more regulation, more things, more paper,
right
more plans. All has to be in detail. And no, here you can have
for fifty
a sketch
dollars.
for
Fifty
$50.
dollars, you
You
can
can,
design a house.
yeah, I can give you the sketch and that's it.
I'll show up and I'll go draw it on a piece of plywood, and off you go.
No, but it also this informal or the way it sounds that is very like professional probably. It's also has the other side that you have to be more in the building process than
Yeah.
in other countries probably. I don't know.
Well,
It's very rare that the architect has to deal with the person that is putting the nail. Probably you shouldn't. I
yeah.
shouldn't.
I don't think, and I'll actually, before I say that, I'll say this. I would highly recommend that you take a look on our Instagram page. It is the handles behind the build, because as you hear about what we have been talking about here for Lucas's practice, you will see the product that he puts out there. And when we joke about this being informal, you will completely understand that what is getting built is not by circumstance or chance. This is like
No,
it.
that
This is architecture at a very, very, very well executed high level, and it is happening in regions where I'm assuming. And again, I'll before I assume, because I hate doing that. Lucas, do you ever have time where people that are working on site don't have cell phone reception?
don't have a yeah.
Right?
The most of the times.
Right. So exactly. So in order to be able to construct what you're designing, this is happening like completely off the grid in many ways. What one of the things
Yeah, it's a lot of off the grid or a very low or new grid, probably.
So
Like,
one of the things that you and I haven't even talked about, and I'm going to get to there in a second. So again, go on our Instagram, take a look. You'll be able to from there to click onto Lucas's bio, and you'll be able to see the history of his work. And I would recommend going onto his website and taking a look at it because his architecture is beautiful. It is
thank you.
beautiful. When I came across it the first time, I just like started staring at my phone, and I didn't switch from the one project that I was looking at, which is House at Patio. I could not deviate my eyes from my phone. I was just like looking at this and
No,
thinking, like,
that how the process of work of that house is insane.
I believe, and it would have to be.
It's the whole process is that nobody believed me in like how was executed. Like, yeah, it's a lot of work that is. The thing is that it's a lot of work that is behind the scenes. So you can hear in this conversation, it sounds like it's very like no informal and not regulated and very like
someone just threw some wood over there, and there was some guy
I know.
that had some nails, and he just kind of threw it together.
The thing is that the informal is more about the professional people behind the work,
Right.
But there is a lot of work behind the scene that is charged to the architect. I mean, I feel more like a contractor that can draw and design more than an architect that has
Right.
to contract a constructor. So it's a lot of work in making the things happen and to make it good.
I was describing this specific project to an architect partner that we work with here in Toronto, and her name is Brenda Eisen. I was showing her your work and how within that courtyard where the trees are growing through the house, that you ascend the staircase to the second floor, and you are literally I'm not walking the staircase, but the feeling is that you are literally walking in a tree house to the top of the trees, and that you get the experience. I like to reference movies that you're almost like an Ewok in Star Wars, that you have the village above the trees.
That's
and how special that type of experience is for a homeowner, but also for the people on site building it, and for you to be able to come up with a vision of what that's going to look like to experience it. So what I didn't ask you, and I wanted to ask you, so, like this, the required services of electricity and septic and water. So in some of these regions where if they don't have cell phone coverage, how are clients accessing this? Are they using geothermal heating? Or is it solar?
Some of the places are solar. Other ones there is a figure of, for example, for water, you can make I would say a pozo,
a well, yeah,
and that's legal. You make the paperwork and you can drill the ground.
And what do you know what depth in different projects? Like, what's the deepest you've had to go, and what's the shortest you've had to go for well?
Minimum like 50 meters.
50 meters,
minimum.
Okay.
Yeah, and that way down. For electricity, it depends of the solar panel, or there are places that you can get electricity from the company that supplies all the place. The thing is that it's expensive to pay them to take the electricity from the latest point to your house.
Run it, yeah.
And for the I would say the septic.
Sewage.
Here we use a lot of the individual system.
Okay.
I don't know how you call it in English.
I mean, it's a septic tank. It's like it's a bed in the ground.
Yeah,
The
It's the
leaching
same.
bed, etc. Yeah.
Is the same one.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't like it because it's very degrades the ground. It's very bad for the soil.
Right.
But now we are trying to use the other one that is also septic in underground, but it's more like a small plant of treatment
Yep.
water.
Yep.
So yeah, we have the things to make it work. The house. It sounds more like off the grid, but some of the grid things that are next to a road or a main road that you can connect to the
Okay.
main things. But yeah, but cell phone signal is the worst.
Yeah. So Starlink will help all of that. Elon Musk is here
Yeah,
to
we are
save us all.
we're starting to use it. But
And when you look up
it's
at the sky at night, and you can see all his satellites running through the sky.
all the satellites from yeah. No, but for example, Castle Patio, the
Yeah.
one that you're talking about,
Yeah.
it was horrible. There was no signal. I didn't know about the construction. Like in once at the month, one time at the month, somebody sent me one picture, and it was like, "Hey, you're still alive! Great!" And there were no plans. That there were like I don't know, 5 plans for the whole house,
Wow.
and the rest of the way of construction, I have like meetings here in Santiago because the client is from Santiago,
Yeah.
and he was in charge of building, of having 4 persons in charge of him building the house. So every time like we sit here in Santiago in a cafe
Yeah.
to to draw some details of how to make some things, and that's the plan. And I send it down to the
On
south with
on
with the
WhatsApp,
client.
right? On
Huh?
WhatsApp to the client down south.
Yep. A photo or pictures for the client, and okay, that's the instruction for the builder.
And as many people are aware, the use of screens, and again, obviously locally sourced materials, but the one of the really intriguing things about this project specifically that struck me was the simplicity of the screens and how they can move on the track to be able to create shade for the interior of this house. It is, I mean, in some ways it is so basic, but in other ways it is so ingenious because it's so simple.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Right? You look at it, you're like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know why more people aren't doing that.
Yeah, me too. For me, it's like very basic. I don't know.
But then they provide so much cooling to the interior of this home when the sun's hitting it directly, right?
It has 2 functions. It depends on the house, but it's for the sun, for
Yeah.
making the difference between summer and winter, and
Yeah.
also is to the privacy for those houses that has like neighbors too close, and it's a separation, make a this distance between the interior and the other house or the neighbor, for example. So I use it a lot for that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. So I do have a question. It's maybe one of my last questions. So, or among the last questions, what is some of the greatest challenges that you've come up across in performing or executing on the architecture you've designed in some of these areas? What's been the hardest single hurdle that you had to jump over to make something work?
Oh,
Yeah.
we could have an interview of each project. Is like I have a lot of things to
look at all the exclamation marks in WhatsApp. You have to do it like this.
The most difficult, I don't know. Probably now we're building one that is right now that is very, very difficult because it's very big, it's near to a river, so all the whole process has been very like long. So we are all like tired of hearing about this project.
Yeah.
And also because it's difficult in different ways. One thing is the where it's located, related with the ground and next to a river, and also the climate. The climate is horrible. It's very rainy, and you can. So if you're next to a river, the foundation has to be very deep and very strong.
So using helical piles? No, you can't. You're not using concrete.
Yeah, we are using concrete.
Oh, you are? Okay.
But up to now, we're using like 3 different companies because we have some trucks how you say it,
Yeah,
like
they flip. They
yep,
turn on their side because of the road.
yeah, because of the road. So it's been a headache in the whole process.
Oh my God.
One thing is that the other one is that it's a very big house. So, and also the client is very, it has a lot of change. So every time has to expand it to make it bigger, to
Right.
change something. So we are all like, okay, I pray for the client doesn't go to the site and to let us like
Stay home. Stay home.
stay home, please don't go.
Turn
And wait to
turn off your
the
phone.
yeah. Every time he goes to the project, I'm like, back. I'm gonna receive like new ideas, and this is not good. No, and it's a very big house, also with a lot of problems with the neighbors. And no, it's a big headache. So so yeah,
Sounds like about 90% of some of the projects we deal with.
yeah. No, this
Uh,
one is like yeah.
so
It's probably is difficult in that kind of stuff, but there's other. I remember the House of Chiloé, the one that I told you was one of the first one or the
yeah.
second one. No, the climate is like freezing. Like all the winter, I went for the site visit, and I say like, if I were the person that was like building there, I will leave the construction and go away and wait, come back in the summer. I mean I don't know how they didn't leave us. Yeah.
So tell me, what do you do when you're ready to call it a day? And I'm talking to you. It's a Friday, so you're heading into the weekend. What do you like to do in your free time? How do you unwind from the 10 to 15 projects you're running? Some of
To
your
take
hobbies.
to drink alcohol and
I guess Chilean wine's not a bad thing, so that makes sense.
pisco,
Pisco. Okay.
Chilean pisco. No, I don't know, to rest and to. I like to a lot to watch movies and series. So
Okay.
with my wife, so that's a good thing for Friday. It depends, but for Fridays is a movie. Then
Okay.
Saturday I can go out.
Okay.
I'm got new energy, ready to go.
Okay. And you also told me that you in a previous iteration of your life, you were a tennis player.
Yeah, I used to play tennis. No,
Yeah.
I didn't answer you tennis because I played last week and I hurt my how you say in my arm. So
Yeah.
so it's like, oh fuck again. I don't practice and I get like hurt every time I play again. So I'm off the the road.
That just comes with age, okay? One of
Yeah,
the
that's why.
one of the hardest. So when Lucas and I first spoke, we were talking about tennis, and I coached tennis for 14 years. I played tennis a lot growing up. I'm got back into it for the first time in 10 years. And the hardest part of getting back into a sport that you were good at when you were young is figuring out, now what? I don't have the weapons I used to have, and everything hurts when you're done.
Exactly.
So
So it happened last week. I played tennis and paddle because a lot of friends we played paddle together,
yeah.
and was horrible. I hurt myself.
Well,
Uh,
nothing a little wine
so
can't fix.
no. But
It was bad, like your elbow or your shoulder.
no, my elbow.
Elbow.
I hit
Yeah.
with the glass. So I crashed to the glass in the
In the
paddle
paddle court.
court. Yeah,
Yeah. Did you
so
shatter the glass?
no, not that level, but
Okay,
I hurt
good. So
myself.
the glass is still intact. You're the one that's broken,
I don't have to pay for anything yet.
other than some physio.
Yeah, exactly.
Lucas, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you and getting to understand more about where you're working, how you work, the methodologies, the typology, the materiality. You as an individual, I appreciate you taking the time. I know that you are really busy, and it's hard to run a practice when it's just two of you with 10 to 15 projects on the go. For you to take time out of your day to do this, I'm very appreciative of it. So thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much for the invitation, and that we should try to talk more about more projects, and we share you some specific things of some of the process of the houses.
I,
I would love to.
I honestly, I would love to have you back on. We will do that down the road. There's I have plans for some other fun things that we'll do. So I will definitely keep you engaged, and I will send you some messages through Instagram about what my wife and I are watching on Netflix and Amazon and the like.
Great, great. No, I hope this interview I answer a lot of questions and some things I probably you people would not understand at the beginning, but I don't know. Thank you for the invitation, and hope this
pleasure.
was a good interview and I answer all the questions.
You've been
I don't know
great.
if the best way, but but it was a nice conversation. So thank you.
That's the key. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.